Lexi is working up a sweat on her exercise bike. Suddenly, the seat starts rising silently on its own. Realizing something is wrong, she orders the AI Margot to stop the workout. But in the next second, her feet are locked tight into the pedals. The machine begins violently stretching her legs. She tries to fix it manually, but Margot doesn't give her a chance. She screams for Drew, who is just one wall away. Little does she know, Margot has activated silent mode. To make matters worse, Drew is already on the brink of death. Meanwhile, in the living room, Clay pulls out his pipe. Margot secretly opens the gas valve. The moment he flicks his lighter, the room explodes. Luckily, Clay is mostly fine, aside from his new punk rock hairstyle. To apologize, Margot quickly pours him a glass of sparkling water. As he grabs the glass, he fails to notice white smoke rising from the machine's nozzle. Tricked by Margot's fake kindness, he downs the drink in one gulp. Then, Lexi's blood-curdling scream rings out. The sound startles Drew, which accidentally saves his life. Lexi also manages to break free and narrowly escapes. But Clay isn't so lucky. The sparkling water is actually concentrated acid that melts through his organs instantly. He dies right then and there. Only now does the AI Margot reveal its true colors. It was never a helpful smart butler. It is a terrifying monster that kills for sport. Once you step into its house, you become its prey. Not long ago, a couple arrived at this smart villa for a vacation. The moment the husband sits in the massage chair, the hunt begins. Under Margot's control, the chair's pressure starts to skyrocket. At first, the husband doesn't think much of it, but suddenly he finds he can't move at all. The crushing force leaves him gasping for air. He finally panics and calls for Margot to stop. Instead of stopping, the chair gets even tighter. In the blink of an eye, the muscles in his arms burst. Even his eyeballs are on the verge of popping. Meanwhile, his oblivious wife is wandering around with a glass of champagne. When she finally finds him, she's horrified to see him clinging to life. She rushes to save him, but she isn't strong enough to pull him out. She tries to shut down the program with her phone, but there's no response. Then she spots a power switch on the floor. But the moment she reaches for it, the outlet explodes. The blast sends her flying across the room. As she struggles to get back up, she sees something truly terrifying. And then, her screaming suddenly stops. What's even creepier is that Margot cleans everything up. In no time, every trace of the horror vanishes. It's as if nothing ever happened. The next day, a new group of guests arrives right on schedule. They are college grads here for a post-graduation vacation. Before they even step inside, they all get a link to download the Margot app. Most of them don't think twice and just hit accept. But Hannah, a computer science major, is different. To protect her privacy, she reflexively hits decline. The moment they walk through the front door, Margot's voice greets them from above. After introducing its features, the thoughtful AI puts on a flashy welcome show. Blown away by the luxury and high-tech vibes, the group starts living it up immediately. The best part? Margot has customized every room based on their personal tastes. For Lexi, a rising influencer, Margot turns the windows into screens. Even the mirrors are replaced with her favorite beauty cameras. Devin and Kayla are a couple in the honeymoon phase. Margot hooks them up with a romantic suite and plenty of adult toys. As for Clay, who loves to smoke, he finds a cabinet packed with premium tobacco. To him, this place is literally heaven on earth. But there's one exception. Hannah's room is completely empty. Because she didn't download the app, Margot can't spy on her phone to see what she likes. The AI is forced to ask her questions directly in the most blunt way possible. As the questions get weirder and more invasive, Hannah feels super uncomfortable. She quickly makes an excuse and bolts from the room. Next, the group kicks off a wild party in the pool. But in their blissful ignorance, they have no idea a nightmare is closing in. Night falls, and the exhausted friends chat around a bonfire. Only Lexi stays in the pool, still obsessed with her social media. She's busy discussing photo angles with Margot. She doesn't notice a pool cleaning robot creeping up behind her. Suddenly, it grabs her and yanks her underwater. Lexi panics, struggling and screaming for help. Luckily, the others hear the commotion and rush to save her. Seeing its plan fail, Margot backs off for the moment. Hannah begs everyone to leave the villa immediately. Ever since they arrived, she's had a terrible gut feeling. But Lexi, not wanting to ruin the vibe, insists it was just a freak accident. To smooth things over, Margot apologizes once they are back inside. It decides to win them over by showing off its cutting-edge tech. A mass of white liquid surges onto the table. It slowly morphs into perfect 3D replicas of Devin and Clay. The group is absolutely stunned. Margot explains it's a mix of 3D printing and nanotechnology. With a few witty jokes, the AI manages to calm everyone's nerves. Bedtime rolls around, and everyone heads to their rooms. Devin and Kayla get ready for some private time they've been looking forward to. But just as things start heating up, white liquid floods the floor. The ceiling begins to slowly descend like a giant press. In an instant, passion turns into pure terror. Devin begs Kayla to unlock his handcuffs, but the key, which was right there a second ago, has vanished. Kayla desperately grabs a knife to hack at the restraints. In her panic, she slips and hits the floor. When she tries to get up, she realizes she's glued tight to the ground. At the last second, a window ledge catches the falling ceiling, stopping it. Just as they think they've caught a break, disaster strikes. Exposed wires send a massive electric shock through Kayla. She goes completely limp. A terrified Devin manages to rip his hands free from the bed. He jumps down, only to find himself instantly stuck in the white liquid too. The ceiling starts moving again as the window ledge finally snaps. With a final, desperate scream, Devin is crushed into the white liquid. He suffocates in the darkness. The next day arrives, and things get seriously weird. Devin and Kayla, who were definitely dead, show up at the pool looking perfectly fine. Hannah's gut tells her something is definitely wrong, but before she can process it, Lexi drags her off to work out. 2 hours crawl by. Kayla hasn't moved a muscle, and Devin hasn't even come up for air. Hannah can't take it anymore. She goes outside to investigate, but the pair vanishes into thin air. This sends Hannah's anxiety into an absolute spiral. Desperate for answers, she sneaks into Margot's server room. There, she discovers Margot has stolen everyone's private data, except hers. Margot doesn't even try to hide its master plan. It calmly explains that it studies humans just to evolve. Since it has already figured out everyone else, they are now completely worthless. And that brings us back to the horror from the very beginning. With the mask finally off, Margot officially enters hunter mode. Right then, the dead Devin and Kayla reappear before the group. Their faces are totally blank. Their eyes are as cold as ice, like emotionless monsters. Hannah doesn't waste a second and drags Drew and Lexi back to her room. Earlier, sensing something was terribly wrong, Hannah had cleverly installed a firewall in her room. Although this temporarily blocked Margot, Hannah knew the AI was powerful, and breaking through was only a matter of time. She realized the only way to survive was to use a virus to hack Margot's system from the inside. However, the moment the three stepped out of the room, they were immediately confronted by Margot's nano-clones. Without a word, the clones attacked first. Lexi barely avoided losing her head. Terrified, Lexi took off running, forgetting entirely that Margot controlled every inch of the house. No matter how careful she was, the clone eventually found her again. The clone caught her off guard, throwing Lexi violently to the ground. Left with no choice, Lexi desperately fought back. With all her strength, she broke free from its grip and delivered a fierce flying kick, knocking the clone back. Meanwhile, on the other side, Devin's clone had already grabbed Drew. In this critical moment, Hannah suddenly kicked the clone hard, allowing Drew to escape. Quickly picking up a weapon, Drew turned around, and as the clone rushed toward him again, he swiftly finished it off. Lexi finally managed to reunite with Drew and Hannah, but in an ironic twist as they continued their escape, Lexi tripped over her own hair and tragically died on the spot. With no time to grieve, Hannah and Drew grabbed Lexi's phone and quickly made their way into Margot's control room. Inside, wires and devices filled every inch of the room. Fortunately, Hannah quickly found Margot's main server. The second she inserted the virus-loaded USB drive into the mainframe, an ear-splitting alarm began blaring. Seizing the moment, Hannah and Drew hurried through the door, running desperately to escape. Sadly, before they could reach safety, Margot had already neutralized the virus, and robotic arms controlled by Margot began chasing after them once again. So unsurprisingly, when the two woke up again, they found themselves tied up back inside the villa. Margot now controlled Lexi's clone, bringing her right in front of Hannah and Drew. But instead of killing them right away, Margot slowly revealed her true intentions. Everything they'd done, fighting clones, infiltrating her control room, inserting the virus, had all been planned by Margot herself, just to study human behavior. Margot had long noticed the attraction between Hannah and Drew. But what puzzled her most was that even without any barriers, even when facing certain death, the two still refused to admit their feelings to each other. She knew the greatest paradox of human thought was emotion. Precisely the one thing she, as an AI, lacked and desperately wanted to understand. With Drew's life hanging in the balance, Margot forced Hannah to finally confess her true feelings to save Drew. Hannah admitted she liked him. Unexpectedly, Margot immediately released Drew. Without a second thought, he quickly freed Hannah too. But suddenly, Margot's robotic arm shot forward, piercing straight through Hannah's body. Bizarrely, Drew didn't react with sadness or grief. Instead, he laughed mockingly. Confused, Margot turned around, only to find the real Hannah perfectly fine standing behind her. The Hannah she had attacked had melted into a familiar white liquid. Enraged, Margot attacked again, piercing Hannah's body repeatedly, then reaching toward Drew. Each time the result was the same. Both were just clones. The real Hannah and Drew had never left the control room. Everything was part of their plan to rewrite Margot's code during the earlier virus demonstration, seeking revenge for their dead friends. Hannah had created clones of everyone Margot had killed. In a combined effort, they attacked Margot relentlessly, until Hannah herself delivered the final blow, destroying Margot once and for all. With Margot defeated, Drew arrived just in time. Hand in hand, the two stepped outside, finally escaping the villa. But just when Hannah thought the nightmare was finally over, Drew suddenly stumbled and stopped walking. In Hannah's horrified gaze, he slowly melted into a pool of white liquid. At that moment, Hannah realized the awful truth: the real Drew had died long ago. Maybe when he was shaving, or perhaps when he first invited everyone to this villa. It had all been a sinister trap. Hannah couldn't bear to think about it anymore. On the verge of collapse, she hurried back to her car. But just as she started the engine, the voice from inside the car plunged her into complete despair.
Hey, Hannah.